Welcome back to the Circuit Revival, where today we're going to be going back to the 90s because we're going to have a look at this Pokeball thing. I don't know quite what it does. I never had one of these as a kid. I had a fair amount of Pokemon stuff as a child, but I've never seen one of these. But it's come in as faulty. It didn't say what the fault is. I'm guessing it's going to be a no power. So we'll get some batteries in it and see if it works. So there's just a screw at the bottom here, which I'm guessing is just into the batteries. And we've got 4 AA batteries there, which look like they're in series. So we should end up with 6 volts across all of this. So we'll just get some batteries in and we'll just see whether we have anything. So there's an on-off button just here. Okay, we have one light lighting up just here. I'm not sure if you can see that, but it's not doing anything but that one light. So there's some power in this thing, but it's not staying on. It turns off every time we turn it, press the button, and now it's stopped. Okay, so there's nothing going on there. Let's just double check the voltage across this then. So these are in series, so if we go between these 2 points here, I believe, we should end up with 6 volts. So yeah, so my leads are the wrong way around, but as you can see there, minus 6 volts. So power's getting into it, which makes sense because we were getting those lights. But let's just try and work out what's going on then. So we'll get this open. There's some screws on the bottom here, so I'm guessing that's how we get in. I think what stands out to me that's crazy is how much yellowing has gone on the bottom of this ball. So you can kind of see the difference between the colour it's supposed to be and the colour it is. I believe there's a process called retro brightening that allows you to try and regain some of that colour back, but I don't think it's permanent. I think it uses sort of like UV light and other things to make it work. Okay, so that then just lifts up. Just get these screws out. And we'll just take a look at this. So to start off with, I can see this wire here is a bit chewed up, which isn't going to help it, but I'm guessing it's still making a connection because we were getting power through. And then the rest of this, I can't see anything immediately on this. But let's see if we can get this board out a bit more and have a look. Okay, what we'll do to start off with then is we'll get these batteries back in and we'll just test the voltage on the actual board just to make sure it is getting through. And okay, so the 2 points the batteries hand will come up are just here and here. So go back into voltage DC. Try and hold this still. And yeah, 6 volts. So we're getting power into it. So what we'll try and do then, just to make it a bit easier, is I will desolder the wires off the end here, and then moving forward I'll try to use my bench power supply to power this up. It just means that we don't need to worry about this getting in the way. So I'll just desolder these wires. There's the red, which goes on the front side, and then the black is on the back side there. So we'll just test just in case it was the battery then. I'll set my bench power supply up to 6 volts and let's see whether this will power it. See if it comes on with this. So we're still getting similar. Oh, okay, we've got a few lights now and a couple of lines on the screen. And then nothing again. Okay, so it's certainly trying. Okay. I think I might see where the problem is. So this comes on a lot more when the screen is in a certain place there. So I have a feeling the break is in between the screen and the rest of it. So I imagine there's some wires in the back here that are broken. So it doesn't open when it doesn't work when you fully open it up. So let's just get these out of the way for now. Let's just try and get into this a bit more then. So there's a few screws just on here, some silver ones. So we'll just get those off. It would make sense that that would be the area that this breaks, because it's the area that's under the most amount of stress. Just reach in here and grab these bits just so we don't lose them. Bit like that. Okay, that's all the buttons and stuff out of the way. So we've just got what looks a bit of a strain relief here. We'll just remove that. Okay, so it looks like we need to try and work out how to get into the top half of this. See if we can put this under the microscope and see if we can see where the break is. So it looks like we might be able to prise that up. Okay, let's have a look on the microscope, see if we can see any breaks in the wire. Okay, here we are, just under the microscope, and you can see this is where all the wires connect. So that part of the board looks good. Can't see anything there, and then it comes under this glue and into the kind of hinge section there, and that's just glue there. And it looks about the same on this side. I can't see anything immediately there. Flip this over and have a look from the top. So it looks okay there. Nothing immediately standing out, so I think we do need to try and work out how to get this top half off. So this looks like it prizes open slightly, but I can't work out quite what it's on. It doesn't feel like it wants to go. So I wonder whether we need to try and get this front half off first. Okay, looks like we might be able to just sort of prise some of this glue off, which might give us a bit more room. Okay, there we go. So we can just get rid of that glue and then put it back in if we need it. So that gives us a bit more vision of it all, but I think we still need to try and get this separated a bit more. Because I still think the break is in that hinge there. I'm guessing there's some screws or something on this hinge underneath that, so I need to work out whether we can get this front panel off. So this front part's just held on with some adhesive. We'll just try and see if we can get off without damaging too much. Probably the upside to this thing being so old that this adhesive is not as good as it was before. Trying to take it off smoothly so that it doesn't end up with any creases, which allow us to put it back on. Oh no! Okay, we were doing so well, but it's just got caught on one of the bits of adhesive, so we've lost a bit of it. So it is a bit noticeable, sadly, that there's just a slight imperfection there, but we did all right. Okay, so let's just undo these screws here. Probably could have done that a bit better if I just applied a bit of heat to it. That might have loosened the adhesive slightly in that area. So it's a shame it came off slightly, but certainly a learning curve there. still slightly stuck in place. So I think it probably has something to do with this black part still being in the way. So I'm just going to try and work out how to get that out. Okay, so that now just lifts out. And I don't know whether this will lift up now. Okay, so that lifts out like so. We have a spring here, which I'm not entirely sure where it's come from. I'm guessing it's come from the push switch here, so that springs backwards and forwards. I'm guessing that just sits on there and then sits up against that point there. I've got a speaker and then these wires that bend in. Okay, so now that we're in, let's apply some voltage to this and see if we can get it to do anything different. Okay, so if we bend this, we get different results. You can sort of see the Pokemon logo starting to form there. Manipulate the wires at the back here to get it to do anything. So at this position we have a bit more going on. So what we can do then is maybe try and test between each ends of the wires and maybe just double check the solder points on them. So I can't tell if it's a break in the middle of the wire or whether it's a break on the solder join. So if we have it there and we try start it. Either way, we still don't seem to have sound. But, okay, let's take a look at these connections then. Okay, none of those feel loose. What's no, so they're all in place. And the two speaker points, and then these ones down the bottom. And this is probably the area where there's the most strain. It's just in the hinge area. This green wire here looks like, can't work out if that's glue. Yeah, okay, that is glue. Aha, okay, what's this here? Okay, we can certainly see exposed wires there. So this purple wire, try and work out if it's completely broken or whether maybe it's just shorting itself out. And then I think on the other side here, this blue one has done the same. So let's see if we can test those two then, from one end to the other. So we'll come in and we're just trying to test this purple lead that runs from just down here all the way up to in here. So we'll go back into continuity and let's see if that makes it all the way. It's 5 along. Okay, we'll just test each of these. I think I'm definitely on it, but I don't think that purple cable is making it. Okay, no, it is. It's getting to there. Okay, so it's split, but it's making it. So I wonder if we just try each of these one by one. That brown cable also looks to be the same as well. The brown one looks like it might actually be fully broken. See if we can get to that. Yeah, so I think that's going to be where our issue is. These wires are just so old now that they are just starting to split. And I think being pushed backwards and forwards on that hinge, it's just broken them. These ones don't look as bad. They're a bit split open, but they're all good. But this side, now I don't think I've got any wires that are quite going to be small enough to fit in this. So the best we might be able to do with this is just prove the fault, because that wire there looks like it's completely snapped. So what we might try and do is maybe try and just run a bit of enamelled wire between each part. Okay, let's just try and see if we can get the rest of this out to make it a bit easier. Okay, so we have it all out now. And what I'm going to try and do, I reckon, is I think I'm just going to try and run some enamelled wire between each of the points next to where the original wires are. It's not going to be a perfect fit, and it's going to look a bit messy, but I've not got any wire as small as this. So it's probably the best I'll achieve. So I've got here, I think, some 0.3mm enamelled wire. I think it's the thickest one I've got, which should stop it from at least shorting against each other, and we'll see if we can get it at least back together and working. So here's the wire. So it's got an enamel coating on it, and I'm hoping that basically I can just pin it to each side. So as I say, this side looks like it's all okay. I think it's just this side that's got the problem. So it means I've got less that I need to worry about. Okay, so I've got some pictures there of the colours and what goes where. So we'll flip this over, and I'll just put a bit of tension on this. I'm just going to try and run my soldering iron over all of it, and then see whether we can just get them to come out one by one. So there we go. There's all of those out. It looks like they did have sort of some glue on them, because it's all I can kind of smell at the moment. So there's a lot to get done there. So what I'm going to do is I'll measure up the length of the enamelled wire here against the length of these, and I'll cut just a bunch of lengths to that long. So we've got just here, you can see just the length of enamelled wire. So if I cut, how many do we need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'll cut 11 of those at that length, and then we'll just try and get them all soldered in. Okay, there we go. So I have 11 lengths of enamelled wire here, and we're just going to try and solder them in one at a time, and hopefully don't lose them all. But I'm hoping if I just add just a bit of pressure behind it and then melt the solder, it should hopefully push through. Okay, it's going to be quite difficult to do under the microscope, so I might just show you from the top camera here. It's not going to be as close, but I think it's the best chance I've got of you actually seeing what we're doing here. So I've got the enamelled wire, and I'm just feeding it to where the original wire was behind. adding a bit of pressure, and then I'm just going to melt the solder from the front. Okay, that's pushed through. We just need to make sure it stays in place. So I'll get a bit of solder on my iron. Okay, so there's one. And I'm just going to keep going through the rest of them like that. So I'll jump back in once all of these are done. Okay, there we go. So it's not the prettiest solder job in the world, but that is all of the enameled wires attached. You can see them all on the other side there. So now the aim is just to do exactly the same, but on this side. So it didn't take as long as I thought it was going to, but it certainly wasn't a quick process. So I will do exactly the same and we'll jump back in once they're all connected. Okay, so it's not the prettiest thing in the world, but here we go. That is all of the wires soldered up. I'll be honest, this side was a lot easier than the bigger side, but you can just see that massive wires there. So what we're going to do is attach it back to the bench power supply and see if we have anything different happening. Let's see if we can find some of this. No, so we still have nothing there. I wonder if there's anything to do with the other side. Okay, what we can do then is just double check that all of those are definitely making a connection on both sides. Okay, I don't think the second to last one here is making a good connection. So I'll just try resolder that one in place and then we'll give it another go. Yeah, this one here. So I'll just try run that line across again to see maybe the other has not come through the enamel coating properly. Okay, let's see whether this will start. Okay, we have a line on the screen. So I'm guessing we're not supposed to have that line. Okay, we'll just double check that none of those enameled wires are shorting against each other. No, so we've got no shorts across them. Okay, so I'm just going to work my way around the board a little bit and just see if I can find anything. I'll come back if I come across anything. Okay, so I've done some looking around. I've just moved it about, but I think the issue is still maybe on the connection to these wires, because as I move the screen, you can see they're flicking on and off still. So I think I might need to replace all the wires, because I think this side is still causing problems. It still doesn't turn on. You can see as we twist this part, the lights come on and off. So I think to have any chance, I think I'm probably going to have to attach the enameled wires to all the other side as well. So I'll do that and then I'll come back once that's all done. Okay, so that is all of the new wires soldered on to each of the points. I'm sure I've got them all the right way around, but I'm sure we'll soon find out. I think that's everything. So what we'll do is we'll grab our bench power supply again, power it up and see if we have anything different now. Okay, it's certainly a lot more stable. It's not coming off as much when we move this around, but still don't have anything on the screen by the looks of things, and not all the LEDs are lighting up. Okay, we're certainly closer, but still not quite there. As I say, the screen's not, it's not like losing power as much when moving this, so that's definitely there, but we do have nothing on the screen, nor do we have all of the LEDs lighting up. So I think what I'll do is, let's just see whether these LEDs all work. So if I put my multimeter into diode mode, I should be able to touch the legs of the LEDs and see if they'll light. You can see that one there isn't lighting, but it is bringing the rest up. So I'm wondering whether maybe if one of these LEDs has gone, whether, which it looks like maybe a couple of them have, whether it would take out the rest of them. Okay, I'm going to try and replace this LED here and see if it brings the rest of them on, whether maybe that one's just pulling them down. So I think I've got some spare LEDs knocking around. They might not be red, but we'll try swap that one out. Okay, it's not the same size, but for the sake of testing, I've got this LED here. So I'm just going to remove the one that's in here. And just pop it out, and then put it in the same way. I'll just add some down pressure, and then make sure that's soldered in place. So get a bit more soldered to that. Okay, I'm just going to add some flux to that because it doesn't seem like it wants to work. Okay, it's a bit higher than the rest, but it's in there now. Let's see whether we get any more light up. No. Okay, so I've just tested this bulb that was taken out, and it is good. So there must be something else interfering. That has come off there. Looks like it might have taken the pad with it. Okay, looks like maybe some of these have. Okay, we'll just revisit those because they're going to need reattaching, and that might be part of the problem. You can see there's two of the wires that we've attached that have lifted up the pad, so we just need to resolder those back on and then see if we've got anything different. So to do this, what I'm going to do is scratch back some of the board here just to expose the copper. I'm going to try and see if I can just attach it back on by dragging the solder onto the tracks themselves. So you can see that's now reconnected there, and we'll do the same with the next one. So this one we should be able to do from both sides. That might just give it a slightly stronger contact. So we'll just scratch it off. Okay, so I've just reattached those. Let's see whether it makes any difference. Okay, so I've put it semi back together. I've looked around, I've joined some pads that weren't there, and I've hit the reset button, and I think we're a bit closer with this. So the reset button has started it. So let's see if I can start the game. I think there was just some loose tracks and stuff. Okay, so that's on off. Try to turn it on. Okay, we're on. We've got Pokemon, and then there's Pikachu on a ball. Maybe it's one of these side ones. Nothing there. Okay, high score. Okay, so that cycles through. Pause. Let's restart. Let's just have a look at the case to see what these buttons should do. So we should be able to try and turn the sound on with this button here. So pause sound. If we then try go across. Yes. Sound. Yes. Sound. Enter, yes. Okay, so I think the speaker is not working. So let's unpause this. Let's try restart again. Back to the Pokemon screen. See if we can start a game. Okay, so this is mode. Game 2, Game 3, Game 4, Game 5, Game 1. Okay, so let's then go enter. Stage 1, get ready. Catch 15 Pokemon. Okay, so we have a Kakuna on the screen. Let's try catch. Not really sure how this is supposed to work. Okay, and we just broke the power cable off. So what I'm going to try and do then is I'm going to try and get this back together in the unlikely chance that it works in the mess that it's in. So we'll try and see if we can get it back in the case. So I'll fast forward through all of this. So we got it working, so we know that the issue was in those wires. If we don't get it working, then at least we saw some of it. But let's try and see if we can get this put back together then. Okay, somehow managed to get it back together. We'll test it out then and see if it works. So we'll start just by trying to get these batteries in and see whether it held up putting itself back together or not. Okay, batteries are in. Is it going to work? What do we think? Okay, game 1. So we go enter. Got high score. Is 0. Stage 1, get ready. Catch 15 Pokemon. Okay, so there's a Diglett. To be honest, I don't really know what I'm supposed to be doing. Should probably have a look at how we do this. Okay, so that's a Rattata. So we can see the lights are bouncing around, but I'm not really sure what we're supposed to do. There's something in there that clearly moves around. I'm just going to have a look at the instructions for this quickly. Okay, so I've just watched some videos on people playing this, and it seems like ultimately everyone is as confused as we are right now. Apparently you're supposed to twist it round, and because all the lights aren't working, we have got a problem there, because you do need to follow the lights round to work out when, and then obviously we haven't got any sound, so we're not fully working, but it's not bad. We'll try and see if we can at least try and catch one Pokemon. Okay, so we're throwing a ball and we caught it, and I think we can, it tells us the name. Okay, 14 Pokemon to catch. What's next? A slow bro. Well, we caught one. Either way, that's a partial fix. Obviously, the speaker's still not working. I think it needs a new speaker. I think the speaker in there is gone. I don't have any spare speakers like that, so sadly, I think that I'll just have to stay as is. And obviously, not all the LEDs are quite working. But given that it wasn't doing anything at all, replacing all of these wires with just enamel wire seems to work fairly well. So I guess we'll call this one a partial fix. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.